back again, and I'm continuing working on the head study so far. I'll show you what I've done. I've basically just blocked in the large masses, the darker areas in particular, and now I'm sort of making my way towards adding more of the middle values, eventually working my way up the value scale, and I'll correct some drawing as I go along here as well. But things are coming along very well, and I haven't really started blending at all, but I want to get all of the values and all of the more paint down there before I start doing that, because I don't want to get hung up on trying to finish something. But pulling things together, it happens pretty quickly. So as long as I've got the overall big shapes, the important shapes, that's really what I'm after. So let's go ahead and keep working and see what we come up with. I think I'm going to add a little bit of the, let's get this drawing part correct here. Actually, before I do that, I'm always changing my mind. Before we do that, let me throw in some more of this jaw. Let's see. A lot of times when I hold a palette knife up there with the paint on it, I'm just comparing the, just seeing if it's the right value, the right color, seeing where it falls. I need to add more of a gold color in there, more of a yellowish color, because right now I don't want it to look like it's just a continuation of the skin tones. So I'll introduce a little more of that gold, and actually what I'll do is I'll add a little bit of this cadmium green pale with some of the raw sienna and a little bit of titanium white, just to kind of introduce a different color in there. It's interesting when you're painting hair, it's much easier to think of, don't think of individual hairs, but squint down and look at these big shapes and think of it as a mass rather than individual hairs, and it tends to read a little bit better. This ear is a little far out, so I'll go ahead and bring that in. And that's one of the fun things about oil paint, is that it's a very forgiving medium. You'll notice I end up with a variety of numerous brushes in my hand as I go along. And that's just a habit. I do end up using them at some point, but they just seem to accumulate. I'm going to take away a little bit of that ear. It's always best if you can do it and paint in as few strokes as possible. As far as, don't mess with it, don't play with it so much. You can see I'm trying to be deliberate, and I guess that's the best word for it is deliberate. When I put these colors down, I'm just trying to be deliberate about putting them paint down. You can see I've put these, even though they're side by side, it's still deliberate. And by doing that, it will give your work more of a confident look. Whereas if I was to put that down and then go back and just start doing 20 strokes after I laid down that first one, I didn't have to do the other 19 strokes in order to get the effect that I wanted. All I had to do was just lay down that first stroke. And by doing few strokes like that, as long as they're fairly correct, will make it look more confident, give your work more of a confident look. And that's important because people can tell a lot about the artist just based on the painting that they worked on. They can tell if they're timid, they can tell if they're confident. There's a lot of things you can tell about an artist just by the painting that you're viewing from them, and to make it look more confident is more desirable, I think. Not only in portraits, but in any type of subject matter. Some of the best painters, I call them painters of the past, some of the great painters, like Sargent, another guy named Anders Zorn, Spanish painter named Joaquin Sorolla. Guys like that were really just incredible because their every painting just looked very confident, and it gave their paintings a very unique look. All I'm doing is adjusting the value as I go along here. I'm going to pull those shapes together later, and right now I'm in need of some lighter values. So basically, just going to shift some of this over just to give me enough room to do that. Usually, I have a bigger palette than this at my house, and when I'm working, I have a larger space to work on, so it's not as big of an issue. But if you run out of room on your palette, just make sure that you clear some room off, because you don't want to keep crowding your palette and limiting yourself as far as the colors or the values that you're looking for. Make sure you clear an area off, because whatever is on your palette, I like what Richard Schmid says. He's a very well-known representational painter, and what he says is whatever's on your palette will eventually end up on your canvas, which is very true. That should be enough space. And usually after, I'm using a paint scraper to scrape off. This is a glass palette. Makes it really easy to scrape paint off. Move this up here. And paint scraper works well. Then after I scrape it off, with the paint scraper, I like to take the paper towel and dip it in some of that paint thinner and just get the rest of it nice and clean, especially if I'm going to do a lighter color like I'm about to do here in just a few minutes. And since I'm going to be using more of those lighter colors, I better add some white. These are all Winsor Newton brand paints. I've painted with them with these Winsor Newton paints for years, and am very pleased with the results. They're very consistent in the consistency of every tube that I get is is great. I mean, you know how the paint works, you know what the consistency is like, you know the effects that you can get with it after working over time. And the Winsor Newton paint is just, it performs pretty much the same every time, and that's excellent in my opinion. Okay, let me mix some. I want a lighter color, but also a cooler color. So what I'll do is I'll take some of that gold ochre and a little bit of permanent alizarin crimson. It doesn't take a whole lot of that crimson to cool it. That's another thing I should mention. Whenever I work on a painting, on a portrait, the light source, determine what the light source is going to be right off at the very beginning, whether it's going to be warm or cool, because that makes a big difference. Because if the light source is warm, the shadows are going to be somewhat cooler. If the light source is cool, the shadows are going to be somewhat warmer in comparison. And that's just something to take note of and to think about, something that's very important as you're working. This is more of a, it's going to be more of a cooler light source.